Hello, and welcome to Judging by the Cover, where we're going to look at a game and review it, even though we have never played it before. I am NeoFanks, for anybody that's just joined me and hasn't seen this little YouTube channel thing I'm doing before. Hi, we're doing just some silly bullshit here. Looking at today, Linked Banner of the Spark. Now, this hit my radar when I saw it on a very recent Nintendo Direct. I know that was a couple weeks ago, but I had a couple other things I wanted to look at in the meantime. So now we're looking at this one, and I don't know if this is like a trend, but the Nintendo Direct, it made the game look interesting. So I looked it up on the Switch eShop and I looked it up on Steam. Apparently, it released back in May on Steam and probably on other consoles too, but the Switch didn't get it until September. So, much more recent. Although it's only a few months difference, it's not that far off. Anyways, the thing that I am having a constant gripe with on this Judging by the Cover show is when I look at something on the Switch eShop, it's lacking trailers. Now, if you saw the Nintendo Direct or if you've seen YouTube or seen it on Steam, you may have already seen the trailers. But if you haven't, please, by all means, go look at those. The trailers, they do look kind of interesting. Now, I do have some thoughts and some criticisms towards the game based on what I've seen on the trailers and what we're going to see here on the eShop page. Not for anything that I have experienced. I did wish list this to kind of keep an eye on it. If it goes on sale, I might pick it up and give it a try. Um, but let's take a look at the screenshots. We do see our character running around. We do have this thing where they seem to kind of build up a village, workshops. There is some cozy gaming motif here where you are building up your base of operations and, do farming. But there's also action segments where I believe it's touted as a little bit of a roguelite. Not less roguelike, but more roguelite, where you do bring back resources to your base to build it up, set up your farm, your workshops, and to increase your relationship with other characters, mostly a bunch of mechanical men and women. Machine people. And it's a pretty cool dynamic to that kind of roguelike perspective where when you go and do your run you do get some abilities and unlocks and power-ups on the run specifically, but then the point is to unlock things to keep your future runs going better and stronger. So it seems like the game is that kind of grind, but it also has a multiplayer aspect. We do see here that there are multiple players on the screen, and even if you are playing solo, you can apparently team up with some bots too. We do see a farm laid out here. You can lay it out, decorate it as you like. We see fences, trees, pathways. You probably don't even necessarily have to set up your farm this particular way, but this is one way you can set it up here. We have some pretty nicely rendered and stylized environments. I am kind of reminded of how things looked when I played Fae Farm and how the bridges and environments and like you could kind of see all the sprawling riverways and everything there. Now, obviously, the game itself is not like Fae Farm. It's just kind of a comparison of like how the visuals make me feel, where it has a bit of a colorful vibrance to it. And then we have here another battle on a bridge. So yeah, you're basically set in some kind of apocalyptic world, but a more colorful, vibrant take on it, where instead of bleak desolation, you have a pretty rich and vibrant world, but then like a mechanical side world. It honestly, like just from the cover art here, it feels very Sonic the Hedgehog, a la the Freedom Fighters in the Saturday morning cartoon from the 90s, where, you had Robotnik who had taken over the city and, like, made a complete mechanical empire out of it. But then the Freedom Fighters were stationed off in, like, hidden in the forest, and they had, like, that whole nature versus technology dynamic going on as kind of the little undertone under the thing. So it looks like, even though you are teamed up with robots, there are the robots that are trying to maybe burn through resources in the name of expansion, and then you got your workshops, you're gearing up and everything, but you're also working with nature in tandem, since you are farming, you are doing crops, you're fishing. Although, are the fish mechanical? Oh, that's kind of weird. Anyway, the Steam page has trailers. It has more details. Looks like maybe even a few more screenshots. So by all means, check out the Steam page. I am going to be giving separate scores for the review to the Switch and the Steam stores. So team up for an action RPG adventure. It is the year 30XX. So basically, it's the year 3000 something or other. And the natural world has been overrun by an evil robot force, but all is not lost. As you rescue and join forces with a charming band of robot companions called Unibots, you'll form a community of fearless friends and work together to build a new future from the ground up. It is a rogue life RPG, so they're calling it rogue life. Linked Banner of the Spark fuses the action packed fun of a roguelite with the rich progression and charm of a life sim. Honestly, they are upfront and honest about how they do that, and they managed to do it in a way that didn't basically say, "Hi, we're trying to be Stardew Valley but with more combat." Granted, I know I just said it, but the fact that they didn't put it there in their own text, because sometimes that can be kind of a hit or miss with the marketing. In this vibrant roguelike RPG, combat and customization go hand in hand. Put your skills to the test against swarms of robot forces and tough as nails bosses, then use their parts and other resources to expand and upgrade your home base. Whether you are a homebody or a hardened warrior, there are endless ways to pitch in. It'll take a village to save the world. You can link up in co-op or solo. Take on a variety of hack and slash missions, either solo or with up to 3 players. But wait, your Unibot pals want a piece of the action too. Players can power up and recruit allied bots into the fight as companions, where they have their own powers, fighting styles, and combo attacks to send your votes to the scrap pile. Honestly, that sounds kind of like how Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 had companions where you could equip them with certain gear to kind of power them up a little bit, but they also acted as like maybe having little bits of aggro pull or deal or damage dealing, like, or debuffing or something for those kind of things. So that being in the action portion of the game, it's kind of a cool little motif. Weapons and the wire. You kick bolts with your trusty grapple known as the wire. We do see this in the trailers where you have kind of a little grappler hook that launches out of one arm, along with an arsenal of weapons at your disposal. Gain an edge on enemies with 10 weapon classes, 80 plus variations, robust permanent progression systems, and randomized mid mission upgrades, ensuring that no two runs are ever the same. And this is the part that really feeds into that roguelike situation where, you're constantly unlocking new gear, crafting new gear, getting little power ups during your run. And this is one of the reasons I wish the Switch store pages, when they're announcing these things, that the Switch page would have the trailer. They show weapons in action and in the character just holding the weapon in the trailer, in actual in a little bit of animated cinematic and in actual gameplay footage. And there are some interesting looking weapons. You got some standard, swords, hammers, and then there's one thing that looks like some kind of a like electric or cybernetic guitar, where I'm like, wait a minute, is that are they rocking out on a guitar that looks like it's crafted to be one of the weapons? Because that's like, why wouldn't you put that like, seriously, scroll back up here. Is the guitar in a single one of these screenshots? It is not. We see something wielding twin blades. It looks like an enemy, and then the player has the grapple and maybe a sword. We do see grapple and small weapons going on over here with their sword swing. This one is holding what looks like it looks like the sword from Xenogear. So, it's like your typical cyber sword or laser sword kind of thing going on there. But you seriously could have included the freaking guitar looking, what I'm guessing is the guitar weapon that I saw in the trailer. Put that in at least one screenshot. I am legitimately upset over this as I'm, recording this review. Build a thriving town. You enlist the help of robots and up to 5 friends up to 5 friends to work together and build a bright local community, catch fish, collect critters, harvest crops, and craft items to make your home uniquely yours. In addition to enriching your town, use the resources you collect to upgrade your character with special powers and techniques to take to your next fight. So, just like the roguelikes, you're constantly on that progression engine to unlock more skills, more gear to improve all your future runs. You got to keep that upward progression of your numbers going up. I mean, that's basically how action RPGs work in a nutshell. It's just that the fact that this one, they tie your progression engine to a cozy game, which I'll get to my thoughts on that in a minute. And you fine tune your look, character customization. Everyone loves character customization. Some people spend more time in character customization than they do in the actual game, and they make some incredibly cool looking characters. Rebuild society in style with deep character customization, featuring more options and accessories than you can shake a wrench at. And of course, they do highlight here. I am looking at this on the Nintendo Switch 2. It is available on the Switch, and if you got it for the Switch, but you upgrade to Switch 2, there's a free upgrade pack to add mouse controls for the Joy-Con 2, game share with the game chat, which the game chat footage when that was revealed on the Switch 2 was a little less than stellar. Improved graphics, improved performance, which honestly, if it performs fine on the Switch 1, I'm not really concerned with that too much. But the fact that it has the mouse is that is a cool point. In fact, I didn't even know I could do the mouse on the store page. I just found that out just now. So anyway, the I think it's kind of cool how they have this progression thing where you go and do your runs, you get loot and enemy drops to bring back to go ahead and upgrade your buildings, work on your town, upgrade your farm, and upgrade your character. And then some of the things that you can grow and process in the cozy section of the game also upgrades you. But in a way, I feel like now I'm not going to say that this is a negative of the game. I am going to say that this is my perception of the game. Whether it's a positive or a negative is up to the individual player to decide. Some people probably like this design. Other people might find it too much of a disconnect between the cozy and the action segments. So it seems like they made a life and farming sim with action RPG elements as opposed to something like I've seen gameplay footage. I played the Diablo series, the 1, 2 and 3. Um I have seen footage of Hades. I've played other roguelites, like Wall World was one. I've played Poker Rogue, which is one. And for the most part, a lot of these games, when it comes to their randomly generated stages, there's a very quick, like, you get your character, you jump in, and then when you die, you go back to the starting point and maybe buy some upgrades to jump right back into the action game. And those games are usually pretty popular and pretty successful. I know Cult of the Lamb is one. Now, that one I haven't seen as much footage of. I haven't played it myself, but I know that it was incredibly popular as well. Um, but basically, I'm kind of getting the idea that they took what I think Cult of the Lamb does, where it is mostly the action RPG with a cute character driven village mechanic to it. But then they expanded the village portion of the game by what appears to be a significant margin. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that that might be something that causes a disconnect between the cozy portion of the game and the action portion of the game. Now, there are players who like both cozy games and action games. Like somebody who is a diehard Fields of Mystria player, Fields of Mystria, Stardew Valley, classic Harvest Moon, might not get as much into the action games. Whereas somebody who prefers Cult of the Lamb or Hades might not favor the cozy games. But then if somebody is like a very active player of, say, Stardew Valley and Hades, maybe the kind of blend that this game makes might be a good kind of ideal middle ground for you, at least Again, I have not played this. This is purely my thoughts based on the store page. What I've read here on on the Nintendo eShop, what I've seen on the Steam trailers, what I saw on Nintendo Direct. Stylistically, it looks cool. They have like this nice little a very colorful, vibrant, and what looks like a charming collection of characters, both the human characters, the human player characters, and the machine friends. Um, the even the villain in the background of this shot looks like a cool villain. I would like to see that villain in action. I want to know what their deal is. Um, at $25, I feel like for the kind of game that is being advertised here, that is a fair price. I know Stardew Valley, Stardew Valley is what, 15 to $20 depending on the shop you're buying. I think Cult of the Lamb was maybe a 30. I saw the information for Hades 2 was $30. So games of a similar vein are in like that 15 to $30 price range, which I believe it seems like a fair price for what they're advertising. Now, a lot of times I do comment on this where the price might kind of be a turnoff on my personal perspective on me buying the game, but not necessarily because the price is I not because I think it's overpriced or unfair, just because of the kind of time and attention I feel like I would be able to devote into the game. The fact that this does have multiplayer is another really neat point, but the multiplayer aspect really requires that you get other people who also buy the game so that you can either get with your friends who may have bought the game, or if your friends haven't bought it, maybe you have to go online on a Discord or Reddit group to find randos to play with. Although if you're at least getting that communication ahead of time, they're not they're not definitively randos. Although I wonder if there is maybe some random matchup with people for doing runs too. That could be an interesting thing if there's like some kind of a random matchup lobby where you don't have to play solo. I think I think Diablo had something like that where you could get some random matchups with people. Uh, I believe there was also Path of Exile had some stuff like that where you could see people in town, maybe talk in the world's all chat. Although I seriously doubt that the Switch has like a world all chat to set up multiplayer within the game, because especially when it comes to Nintendo, there are safety concerns with people being creeps in in-game chats. I know that that has caused some problems in certain like 3DS softwares and stuff like that. Anybody remember like Swap Note and the debacle that was way back in the day on the 3DS? But for what it is, if you've got friends who are also thinking of, buying this, I would say get some friends together and play it collectively. Work on your village together, work on your runs together, even if you're just kind of doing some solo villages or something, and then pop into each other's worlds. However, that system works. I know sometimes when you join depending on the game, sometimes you join somebody's game with your established character, and then if you're high level, you can kind of carry them a little bit. Or other ones like Stardew Valley, when you jump into somebody's world, you're playing as a like supporting character starting at level 1 instead of bringing in an established leveled character. Either one of those systems I could see being applicable and useful here. Um, but I feel like the multiplayer might be like it would be fun if you can get that group together to do it. For me though, I feel like if I were to pick this up, I would probably end up mostly playing single player. Hopefully the single player, is robust enough to really kind of keep you interested. And but because of my concerns with how I might feel about the disconnect between the cozy and the action portions, I think I would probably wait for at least a 50% sale. Again, this is only for my personal purchases based on my thoughts. Other people, by all means, if you've bought this, let me know what you think. If you played it on Steam, because it did release on Steam earlier in the year, let me know your thoughts on this. It does look like a great game. For rating wise, I think I'm going to go ahead and say the Switch eShop is going to get a 5 out of 10 here, mostly because of that lack of trailers. And well, okay, yeah, 5 out of 10 because mostly lack of trailers. Second, because they didn't put the freaking what I'm assuming is a guitared weapon type in any of the screenshots. Like seriously, just show that picture. You would have sold some games on that imagery alone. I'm sure of it. But overall, the game as a whole, For judging the game by the cover, I'm rating a 7 out of 10. Looks good. The price looks fair. Just a little bit of out of the range of what I think I could justify for wanting to give it a shot, but not sure if I would give it enough time to warrant that expense. Um, but it does look good. Looks like a good time. If you can get the friends together, if anybody has played multiplayer, by all means, get in those comments and tell me how much my opinion on this sucks, or if you think that maybe my concerns have some ground, whether you agree or disagree with the concerns. I would like to, I am fully open to being told that my concerns are complete bunk, that I'm making improper judgments because I am judging the book by the cover, as I have named this show. But anyway, thanks again everybody for tuning in. This has just been my ranting and rambling about a new game that came out. I hope you all have a good night and stay safe.